Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back into r/niceguys stories because everybody loves those good old story time format videos. If you guys would like to show your support and be absolutely amazing, be sure to hit that like button, and if you have not already, subscribe to the channel. Our first story comes for us from username niceguystories. I hope I pronounced that right. Nice guy throws a temper tantrum when he finds out I have a boyfriend and proceeds to give us the most awkward weekend of our lives. First time poster here. I don't really know if this fits as a nice guy trademarked, but after one of the most awkward weekends of my life, I just had to share it. English is not my first language and the story is kinda long, so please bear with me. A little context is needed here. 3 of my best friends from high school went to the same university and stayed really close for all the duration of their career. Logically, they shared a group of friends, and when they started dating, the 3 of them started dating around the same time, all 3 in long-term relationships. They either dated among this group or someone who would eventually fit nicely into it. For the longest time, they were really excited about the idea to hook me up with someone from their friend group so we could go on dates, the 8 of us. So they really pestered me and tried to get me to date one of their friends. Enter nice guy, let's call him Ginger, one of their friends. Despite having a neckbeard, he is not really even half bad looking. Sure, he's a bit on the chubby side and kinda short and, well, a ginger, but I'm sure many girls might even call him cute. The real problem with Ginger is that he reeks desperation. He is always doing things just to impress the girls, he has to say it so himself, and to establish dominance. He is always telling stories about how many girls he has fricked and how many girls he gets, and his family has a lot of money, and he likes showing it off. Not only that, the dude argues about anything. He could literally try to argue about the sky being blue and the grass being green. He argues just for the sake of arguing and to annoy other people. Other friends have told him before that it is not endearing and that it does not help him at all, but he keeps doing it. Also, he is prone to temper tantrums when things don't go his way. Honestly, I don't understand how my friends still have him as a friend. Anyway, when I was in my 2nd semester and still did not know very well my friends' friends, I was invited to party with them. I went to different universities than them, but in the same city, so we remained fairly close, and we would still go out together a lot, and their friends already knew me as someone who would hang out with them sometimes. In this party, I got really drunk, and it was then when Ginger decided to attack. We had been introduced before, and my friends had made their usual jokes of, please take her out, but we had really not talked to each other. So he started asking me how such a pretty girl like me was single, and that kind of things. He took me outside of the house so we could talk better, and to take me away from my friends that were starting to get concerned about my drunk state, and were trying to send me home. I didn't feel like going home, so I decided to stay outside talking to him while hiding from my friends. Not my brightest moment, I know. I don't really remember exactly what we talked about, it was a really long time ago, but I remember clearly how at some point all the alarms in my brain went crazy when he went from talking about the relativity of everything in life to trying to convince me to mess around with him. I tried to ditch him, but he physically blocked the door with his body, and when I tried to push through, he tried to tickle me. I jumped away from him and he tried to corner me, so I yelled something around the lines of, I know something that are not relative distances. For example, I want you 10 feet away from me right now. Worst thing, he actually tried to argue how 10 feet could be relative. My friends still laugh when they remember they found me screeching at Ginger, 10 feet! In the party's backyard anytime he tried to get any closer to me. Now, what is really creepy is that very recently I found out that he also told that story very often, but as a proof that he almost got in my pants. Like, how? I was literally screaming for him to get away from me. The worst thing about this though is that this was ages ago. I'm talking at least 4 or 5 years. I tried to shrug it off since everybody I cared about knew what happened, and if in his deranged mind he had decided to remember it like he almost got it, it was simply not worth fighting over it, and I almost forgot about it. He messaged me every once and then over all of this years, usually sending something creepy, hey beautiful was usually his go-to, or kinda lewd, would love love to see more, winky face, when I posted bikini shots for example, and then say that he left his Facebook open in the university's computer so it must have been someone else, or that it was his cousin, or something like that. I never answered, and since the messaging stopped around a year ago, I eventually forgot about it too. A cut to this last weekend. Now, another little context note, in my city it's very common for people with money to have a second house on a group of beaches that are around an hour away as a little getaway vacationing spot for the summer. Obviously, these are party paradises for young people. I'm not talking about the cottages, but full-on 6-bedroom houses 100 yards away from the beach, each room with at least 4 or 5 beds. So it's very common to have a big group of friends come over and just have a wild weekend. And oh boy, did he like to show off his house. His parents were never there, and over the years I have heard so much about the parties he liked to organize in that house. I was never invited since I was not an official member of the group of friends they form while in university, and while they sounded fun when my friends told me about them, I never felt the urge to get an invitation to go to one. Very recently, I finally fulfilled my friend's lifelong wishes and started dating a friend of their group. It took me a little by surprise, but boyfriend, let's call him that, is super caring and nice, and everything between us is going great. Almost a week ago, Ginger announced that he was going to organize a party on his beach house over the weekend. He usually invites all of their group, and it is implicit that everybody's boyfriend/girlfriend is invited too, so people usually just say they are bringing a +1 and nobody fusses about it. Since I now have the official girlfriend title, boyfriend asked me if I wanted to go, so he could tell Ginger he was bringing someone. I said yes, so he did, but he made the big mistake of not mentioning that it was me who was going with him, and since it is a recent thing, I guess everybody knew we were dating. And when we did, Ginger flipped out. It all started with one of his usual temper tantrums. We were leaving Friday in the afternoon for the beach after everybody's workday was over, and in the morning, Ginger sends a message telling everybody that they should meet all in his city house and then go all together from there, which would be completely normal if his house wasn't literally at the other end of the city and everybody was going by their own means. He tried to press the issue forward until finally boyfriend told him that he could not because he was going to pick me up from my house, since he did not want me to go alone on the bus or arriving on my own and feeling awkward around people I don't know that well. Also, my house is exactly in the way from his workplace to the highway, so it was really the most logical thing to do. We were halfway through when a friend that was going with us in boyfriend's car receives a call saying that Ginger has not left his city house yet and is threatening not to, and to leave all of us stuck outside the beach house if nobody goes to meet him in his city house and rides with him to the beach. The tantrum keeps on for a while until finally some of the people who had not left yet agree to make the extra 45-minute ride to his house. We arrived to the beach and soon more people started to arrive, but since Ginger had left almost 2 hours later than everybody else, we were stuck outside, chilly and hungry. When Ginger finally arrives, he goes straight to boyfriend and he starts yelling like crazy about how shoddy of a friend he is and how he should have never invited him to his beach house, and he goes on and on for a while, saying that because of him, nobody wants to meet in his city house first. Boyfriend got angry, logically, and I had to go after him to convince him that fighting Ginger was really not worth it, and that if he was lending all of us his house, we should just be grateful and not think much about Ginger's stupidity. I told him to let me take the blame and to tell him that I'm super awkward and that I got really needy and pushy about him picking me up from my house to calm Ginger down, because he is still fuming and not letting anyone enter the house. Boyfriend reluctantly agrees to say so, but as he does, Ginger only gets angrier and angrier. Finally, boyfriend is forced to say sorry. Nobody understood what he should be sorry for though, and we finally get inside. Boyfriend and some other guys start working on the barbecue, and I stay on the side, kinda talking to other people, and just overall having a good time. Ginger was still pounding on a corner. After a while, boyfriend calls me over to tell me that our food is ready. Usually each person brings whatever they want to eat, and to come over and cut over the meat while he goes to wash. While I'm doing so, I feel feel Ginger lurking behind me. "Hey," I say, trying to do some small talk despite still being pissed at him for yelling at boyfriend. "Your house is really nice. Now I know why everybody keeps talking about it." Ginger just points at the food I'm cutting. "That is badly cooked." I shrug, since it's clearly not, just a little red on the inside. I guess it's a little raw on the inside, but I don't mind. I prefer a little redness than overcooked meat, you know? "Boyfriend is such a terrible cook, and that meat is such bad quality. I would never let you eat something so plain and disgusting. I've been doing barbecue since I was 9, and I can tell you." After that, it was just a huge monologue of how he did such an excellent barbecues and why boyfriend is a bad cook. Finally, boyfriend comes over and I have an excuse to get out of such an odd conversation. The rest of the night goes on like that, Ginger's comments getting progressively worse the more he drinks. Around 2 a.m., he starts joking about boyfriend to anyone who would listen to him. I'm not an idiot, and I know boyfriend had a bit of a party boy past in the years and had tried hard drugs before. One of the reasons we never dated before. We have talked about it and agreed that while I'm not his mom, I'm not interested in seeing him in such a state or in being part of such a lifestyle, so if he wishes to do recreational drugs, he will do so when I'm not around. We are both happy with that agreement, since boyfriend has assured me that he is past beyond those things. Ginger, however, kept bringing up the topic. He just wouldn't shut up about it and kept turning to me to ask what my thoughts were on the matter. Boyfriend was uncomfortable and I was just overall pissed. So we both left and started talking to other people. Ginger keeps talking about it for a little longer but eventually changes topics. Around 5 a.m. I was tipsy and tired but overall good, and I was talking to my friends about some book we read when we were in high school together and mostly just agreeing how it was a masterpiece and we were not able to appreciate it when we were younger. Ginger, despite not having read that book, butts in our conversation to say both the book and the author were bad and that he has read much better things in his life than the four of us combined. I was, as I said, tipsy and decided to laugh it off. "Are you kidding, right? I did, after all, major in literature. Gods, do you even know what you are talking about?" In my opinion, it came out as friendly and jokingly, but Ginger went pale. I thought he was going to start yelling at me as he had done with boyfriend, but after a while of really tense silence, he went away and proceeded to take drink after drink. Half an hour later, boyfriend and me went to sleep because we were really tired and it was crazy late. Next morning, we woke up relatively early and went to the first floor to have breakfast, and in the living room we find passed out Ginger and one of my friends with a face that just screamed, "Kill me, please." She told me that Ginger got really pushy and that after we left, he didn't want anyone to go to sleep and that he kept giving them more and more drinks and that he had just passed out 15 minutes ago and that he had not let any one of the others sleep in that night. Good thing about this is Ginger spent all Saturday morning sleeping off his hangover and the rest of us had a lovely day on the beach. After midday, some of the guys go buy lunch for all of us and we return to the house to eat, and Ginger revives from his drunken slumber to have lunch with us. At the end, everybody picks up their dishes and I offer to wash some of them since I'm not one of the people who went to buy it, and some of the other girls join me. The kitchen is super small though and we have to take turns. I start washing the dishes and Ginger immediately enters the kitchen when I'm all alone. He starts talking about his house and asking me how I liked it, and I told him a little bit about what a great day on the beach we had. Before he leaves the room, however, he kinda mutters how it is such a lovely sight to have such a pretty girl in the kitchen working for him. I yell, "What?" But he has left already. I'm left fuming, but decide not to pay him any attention. When I return to the living room, boyfriend has left with some of the other guys to play soccer, so I decide to stay talking to some of the other people who are still in the house and grab a random empty chair. Everything is going fine until Ginger returns. "You're sitting in my chair," he says, standing next to me. There are at least 5 other chairs free right next to me, so the others take it as a joke and answer accordingly. "Well, actually every chair in this house is yours," I try to joke, "so I guess it doesn't really matter where I sit." "That's right," he says smugly. "I can lend you a chair if you sit on my lap though." I try to laugh it off, but he is dead serious, and he kept standing right next to me and staring. Nobody knows how to react, and it is so uncomfortable I can barely stand it. Eventually, I give him back his chair and just sit on the armchair of a sofa next to one of my girlfriends to feel safer. Most of the people are talking about returning to the beach, and since I don't feel like it, I decide to take a shower. I was already on the shower when someone knocks on the door violently, scaring the living shot out of me. Now, the house was around 5 to 6 bathrooms for all of the people it can host, so I'm not really worried about someone needing urgently to use the bathroom. I just say, "I'm in here, I'll get out in a minute." Sure, what if somebody really needs to go? They will just pick another bathroom. The person outside just kept banging the door like crazy. I thought it was my boyfriend that had returned to the house from the soccer match trying to prank me, so I just laughed and say, "Freak off, boyfriend." They kept banging on the door, and I am starting to get pissed. Thankfully, I had remembered to bring my fresh clothes with me into the bathroom, so I get out as quickly as I can and get changed, determined to give boyfriend a piece of my mind. But when I get out there, there's no one there. There's no one in the room I share with boyfriend either, and overall, there is no one in the second floor except a couple of friends who are taking a nap, and had been asleep since before I went into the bathroom. Most of the people that were on the living room floor had already left for the beach as they said they would, except for a couple of them who were playing cards on the table, and boyfriend and the other guys have not returned from their soccer match yet. All of them busy, all except Ginger, sitting in the living room doing nothing. I cannot swear it was him, obviously, but really don't know who else to blame. I couldn't openly blame him though, so I just let it pass. But it was extremely weird, and I'm still sure it was Ginger. What did he expect to happen though? Scare me? Was he hoping I would open the door? I have absolutely no idea. When the boys returned from soccer, I sat with boyfriend and the others and started talking a little about everything and nothing at the same time, and the topic eventually became how terrible traffic had been 2 days ago since it had been Valentine's Day. We didn't even talk about the day itself, just about traffic. I commented about a photo that had gone viral of a very well-known flower shop that had such a massive line to get in that it went around the whole block, and Ginger lost his mind. He yelled something about being unconsidered fricks and stormed off. Around 2 hours later, he kicks us all out of his house because he found out that someone was hosting a party in the city called Frickin' Times Day just to pick up chicks, so we had to leave since he was definitely leaving to go to said party, and so our weekend was cut short. But good gracious, at least I did not have to spend another day in the same house as Ginger. TLDR, a guy that was convinced he had a shot with me invites a group of friends over to his beach house, freaks out when he finds out I'm dating one of said friends and coming with them, and then proceeds to weirdly try to flirt with me and bring down my boyfriend for as long as we stayed there. Our next story comes to us from username Schmuncher. It reminds me of Smuckers, come on. I know I mispronounced the name, but now you got me hungry for Smuckers. Mother Smucker. Nice guy DM harasses me. Cross post from RPG horror stories. This one isn't too long, but TLDR at the bottom. I'm a female college student. I'm also a thespian, and all of my friends are aware of this. My now former dungeon master, however, did not care. We lived on the same floor of our dorm and met up in the rec room every week to play our campaign. Things went smoothly at first, and at the beginning, I was friends with the DM and would hang out with him and other friends around campus. Then, things got weird. He started showing me his giant Schmentai folders full of characters from popular shows, and he started telling me all about how much he loves big badongas and is turned on by succubi. That same week, he started a new campaign and insisted that I make my PC a succubi. With huge badongas, he elaborated. I was obviously creeped out and refused. Like all nice guys, if you're even remotely friendly to them, they assume that it's because you must have a thing for him. The next week, he came to me telling me that he was in love with me. I told him that I didn't feel that way for him and reminded him that I liked girls. Then I left and stopped talking to him. The next day, he left a note on my door asking me to talk to him in his room for closure. That didn't sound like a good idea, so I threw out the note and didn't talk to him. He kept messaging me to ask if I got the note. I ignored him, and then he began asking people to go to my door and let me know he wanted to talk to me. I told everyone what was going on and they stopped bothering me. Later, we went to a Comic-Con for a dorm field trip and he wouldn't leave me alone. I got frustrated and told him that I needed alone time. I didn't feel comfortable around him. Later, he got all depressed and PM'd me on Discord while we were still at Comic-Con to ask me again if I had feelings for him. I let him know my answer wouldn't change. Later on, he started going around telling our friends that I led him on, and they all just laughed at him and told him I was a thespian. Afterwards, I was kind of ostracized and people stopped joining his D&D campaigns because he would bring me up every session to complain or ask people about me and my business. One friend mentioned to him that I had a crush on a girl from another dorm building and he PM'd me asking him to jeopardize things for me because he didn't want to see me with anyone else. News of that occurrence went around and everyone that still had some respect left towards him immediately lost what was left of it. I didn't go back to the university this year so that I could do community college for a while instead. Apparently, he was so pissed off about me that he didn't go back this year. No one knows what he's doing now. TLDR, DM gets creepy obsessive with me, I reject him, he gets pissed off and ruins his own reputation until people stop showing up to the campaigns. Edit, he would also brag to people that his therapist diagnosed him as a sociopath. That was another big red flag. And for those that have been noticing the links or the blue text along the story, yeah, here they are. If you guys want to, you can pause the video and read them. This video went on a lot longer than I was expecting, and honestly, I'm feeling really tired right now. And with that, that is going to have to be it with the video. If you would like to show your support and be absolutely amazing for everything that's been going through the month of August, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below about something regarding the video, and if you have not already, subscribe to the channel. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.